We got ourselves Team 1 making a return with Ink. We got ourselves on that Team Merc. We got ourselves Monkey Flip with Icky as well as Milord Palette in the back. Looking majestic as ever. Versus the other team, we got ourselves the boy Seavark making a return as an Arc. Mage for the Duels. We got ourselves Outlaw as a Beastmaster Hunter. Sticking to those guns, sticking to those beasts with chill pills. Going to those chill kills with Syracuse as a Windwalker Monk and Brew Captain. Do a nice little wave. Or at least we think so. But instead he's summoning his boy. He's summoning the guy. The Swolkin. The Club Penguin. Lexi Seavark might be first up. Good luck, boys. Good luck and have fun. Are they going to send in the Mage on the other team? No, it's actually not going to be the Mage. It looks like it's going to be Ink. Ink Riativo. At least that's as best as I can say it. Maybe it's Ink Riativo? Maybe? I won't know. Going to be Ink. Dragon kicking to Seavark, but the polymorph does come out. Seavark is playing the Shimmer build by the looks of it. Unless he's not. Big blast into Ink with that Arcane Blast. What was that? Into Arcane Missiles. What? Oh my god. Seavark just took him out of the game completely. What was that blast? Did you see that? Oh my god. He just Arcane Blasted him for half his health. Jesus. Oh my goodness. And that's going to be Seavark going from a blast to Pala. Just continue. He had one more Arcane Blast ready to go. Not the biggest blast, but it didn't work. One-shotter, basically. I don't even... Unless you had the mobility or had a diffuse magic, I don't really know what you could do there. And it looks like he didn't have diffuse magic. Polymorph coming out onto Milord Pala as Seavark, playing a little bit of a slow game. Tried to slowly kite around the wings. Big missiles and blasts coming out against Milord Pala. Doesn't have the Rune of Power this time, so there's still going to be quite a bit of damage for Milord. As he does have the... What's that ability name? I'm going to remember it in a second. Touch of the Magi. For some reason I wanted to call it Finger of the Magi. But Touch of the Magi just feels more sophisticated. Which fits the Arcane Mage intellect. As he's gonna go for a bit of a missile spam for Milord Paladin, keeping him slow the whole time until the Paladin has Hand of Freedom, and this is where Seavark needs to go into overdrive for the mobility. It looks like Milord Paladin finally getting some slams in there, but he doesn't have wings to combine the damage with, and that's gonna be a polymorph yet again. As Seavark gets himself a pretty easy game with just kite and run. Seavark, no CDs available just yet, no Rune of Power, nothing. He's still getting cooldowns out of Milord Pala. He's playing it very, very carefully. Word of Glories are keeping Milord Pala alive, but the missiles do tickle him down until the next Word of Glory is available. Temporal available for Seavark is going to have a lot of health recovery into shields right away as Milord Pala goes in for a Hodge, but those shields overlapping each other are quite strong. Rune of Power available for Seavark. Might be able to get some big damage into Milord Pala. 40% more damage with that. Shifting Power coming out for Seavark as he's trying to get some CDs back faster, which also he's standing next to Rune of Power where that Shifting Power is going to do quite a bit of damage to Milord Pala anyway. Does go for that Blink with the Shimmer. And maybe this is potentially where Seavark is going to go for the big damage. Big Arcane Blast available. Not combining together with the Arcane Power just yet, but he's getting those free Arcane Blasts either way. Touch of Magic should accumulate quite a bit of damage onto Milord. Does exchange a Hammer of Justice with Seavark. And Seavark is missing the Fire Shield for now. But still plenty of survivability ready for him. And I think Seavark is just going to have to kite this guy out. Kite him out, went into Hand of Freedoms are not available. This is where Milord Pala might be able to make some damage happen here. Hand of Freedom keeping him running. Does get quite a bit of damage into Seavark, but alters time and reverses the health completely. Is going to go for a polymorph onto Milord Pala, who just used the trinket. I think he wanted to use the trinket as the polymorph came in, but looks like he's going to have to wait it out. Seavark going in for Rune of Power with missiles. No Arcane Power available. I think he used that a lot earlier. Although I missed it completely. Did get himself covered a few missiles though. Trinket out of the Hodge. Milord Pala finally gaining some momentum. And it looks like the Shield of Vengeance is going to hold on strong for a bit. But Seavark is making sure to get Novas into Milord or Polymorphs. Hitting him with a Touch of the Magi. And then sprinkling some missiles in there from time to time. Making sure there's as much damage as possible. Every 45 seconds I want to say. Touch of the Magi should be about a 45 second CD. Rude by Seavark. Hand of Freedom maybe out of Pala? Nope. Looks like you're just gonna have to wait. Oh, chooses to Trinket that route at the end. Touch of Magic does get set up by Seavark, trying to make some missiles happen around the corner. But looks like he doesn't have the mobility to really aggressively push in. Or maybe just no desire. Does have Arcane Power ready though. Maybe we'll see some big damage out of Seavark. As Shield of Vengeance is available from Milord Pala, waiting it out. And there goes the arcane power. Looks like we're just gonna have to wait until Seaver gets another go. He had like a really nice one-shot on the monk, and I don't think we've ever seen him go again with that kind of one-shot. It feels like he kind of goes for arcane power once Miller Palette is really low. Maybe he knows that Miller Palette is gonna pop a big defensive every time he goes for arcane power. He's gonna pop a Shield of Vengeance or go for massive heal, so he's trying to keep his health low, then surprise him with a massive arcane power play. Maybe that's what he's trying to go for. It's kind of hard to tell. Does have a trinket used, so maybe he'll have some damage rolling, missiles flying, or Miller Palette still has plenty of holy power to go forward of glories. 37% dampening isn't enough to stop that kind of healing. Big damage to the Miller Palette out of nowhere though, and Seaver does somehow squeeze out a win at the very end, however. Wait, what? I actually thought this was going to be a much longer game than it ended up being, and then all of a sudden he just kind of blasted him out of nowhere. Maybe that's what he was waiting for, the element of surprise the whole time. Iki gonna be up next, combustion coming out, and there's gonna be Seaver trying to steal every buff from Iki. Does steal the combustion, temporal was available. Seaver does have some shields up and running, and should be able to catch up on a lot of that healing right now. They're only 40% dampening. We know how good the shields are from mages. And Seaver is gonna be silenced the next cast he casts. Looks like he had to wait out the big setup with the Mirrors of Torment. And Aki does force out an Ice Block out of Seawork. There's a pretty big defense we're going to use. As Aki does still have Cauterize, Ice Block, and everything. This is going to get us slow into Seawork. As Seawork tried to see if he might be able to give himself a bit of a reset, Aki tried to steal whatever buffs he can from Seawork. And Seawork should be stealing whatever buffs he can from Iki back to back though. That should imagine trying to come up. Try not to get interrupted on his cast though. And Iki, I think, also trying not to get interrupted. Both the mages are still holding to the cast. Going to be all the time. Seawork trying to see if he can spell steal it. Doesn't have spell steal. Does Iki realize his all the time is spell stolen? Gets a breath on the Seawork. Maybe a Ring of Frost. Perfect setup. Almost is going to get spell interrupted on the fire. Has an interrupt if he wants to against Seawork's arcane damage, but I don't know if he's going to be able to. Images are up. Might actually be cauterized here. Out of Iki. Does get interrupted onto Seawork. Not in a great position right now, but Iki's health is super low. Seawork stealing all his shields back and actually might be able to trip cauterize here. Ice Block and cauterize overlapping. Probably not exactly what Iki wanted out of it. He probably didn't want to overlap both of those because one is a massive heal, the other is also a heal, as Ice Block actually heals you now with a certain conduit. So actually, Seawork might have turned it around. He actually got two big defenses out of a single global out of Iki, as Seawork is waiting for some of his own cooldowns to come back. And he actually has a nice setup with Arcane Power. Does get the early invis, as both the mages get himself a bit of a reset. 13 minutes, 49% dampener, as Seawork opening up, stealing all the buffs from Iki. That's going to be the Fire Mage trying to land a poly. Looks like he's not going to be able to. Though maybe he does. Iki trying to land himself a G-Pie as a touch of the magic is on him. Seawork does have a trinket if he wanted to. The Mirrors of Torment is going to come out. And Seawork better be very, very careful with the Mirrors of Torment. 3 casts and he's going to be silenced and rooted. Iki using the mobility to catch up to Seawork. But the Night Fae ability, just the blinks and just so much mobility for a short time. Temporal available for Seawork in case he takes any damage. It's going to be Ring of Frost out of Iki. Has a trinket if he needs to interrupt Iki on fire immediately. Iki needs to maybe somehow turn the damage around. Has combustion, has a meteor. This is going to go for a big bursty one-shot wombo combo onto Seawork. Has all the time available. Seawork popping off images to get himself an extra layer of defensive. Arcane Power is available if he needs to. Combustion is up. Use that together with Arcane Power. 100% crit and extra damage. Shifting power to follow her after. Does have the cast to continue doing damage. Touching the magic onto Iki as Iki gets full set of shield. Seawork might be able to clean him off of the shields completely. Missiles flying, and Iki is kind of defenseless with a touch of the Magi slamming down on the poor guy. Seawork winning though, and that Arcane Power with combustion is like, you know what? I do like what, 60% more damage, 100% crit. I might as well. Oh my god! It looks like Monkey Flip. No, Merc is going to be up next. Another Retribution Paladin for Seawork to kite around into infinity. Rune of Power is going to be available. We'll see if Merc can actually deal with the damage of Arcane Mage. It is a much slower further in the dampening with 59% dampener. Merc does go for the toll. Should give him a lot of self-healing. With the Ward of Glory, shield events available, but it is actually a much smaller shield with 60% dampener. Seawork does also have much smaller shields too, so he's gonna have to be very careful. Merc, do you die right here? Does he use bubble? Actually could get really low. Do you bubble either way? He does bubble. Actually, if you continue the damage into Seawork, the fiery shield would have actually done him in. Which is actually kind of crazy. That would have been really bad. The Seawork is gonna go for a shift in power, recovering some cooldowns. That is a massive one out of Merc though. And I think it might be going down here. If Seawork can get himself a full channel of Arcane Missiles, he'll be in a good spot. Does combine together with Touch of the Magi. No rune of power, just going for the Arcane Blast. Merciless onto Merc. Taking him out with Monkey Flip being the last one left. See, we're gonna go for another Monk one-shot. Monkey Flip, you're next. You're next, my guy. What kind of legendary is Monkey Flip using, by the way? I don't think he uses the charge one, does he? He keeps him on the target at all times. I think that would be really good. Poly into Monkey Flip, try to go for Poly in case Monkey Flip goes in for a trick of his own. This receiver goes for big all the time. There goes the big power play here. Arcane Missiles right after this blast. This is going to be diffused magic for Monkey Flip. Trying to see if he can diffuse some of the damage. Karma onto Seavark into an ice block. Has big damage with Weapons of War to interrupt him onto Verify. Seavark just needs one more set of missiles and it's over. Yeah, not much you could really do in that situation. Seavark just had him basically up against the wall at that point. Not much you could really do. Million damage. I feel like that's the first milli of this expansion, boys. I feel like that's the first million damage of this expansion. My lord, you heal for 700.